I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Oh, God! Good morning! Wow. Still on a high from yesterday. Still have heart palpitations from yesterday. One of the greatest games ever played took place. It was every bit of Phillies Astros 1980 in that game 5 of the NLCS. This game 2 of the NLDS in 2024. Wow, was absolutely thrilling. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. It's a red October, and we're driven by Rite Aid. Get all of your favorite goods, scripts, flu shots, anything you need at Rite Aid. Just go to riteaid.com for all the stores nearest you. So let's set the stage. Death was staring the Phils in the face. I mean, you can't get closer to death than what they faced yesterday. One day after wasting the gem of Zach Wheeler, the 7 innings, the 30 swings and misses. I mean, he was just an absolute gem, and the Mets stole that game. Well, 24 hours later, here they were in the same offensive funk. Here they were, can't get anything done, can't get a big hit, looking overmatched, trying to do too much, right? The first 5 innings, feeble. The first 5 innings, staring up at a 2-0 lead, a 2-0 deficit, thanks to the Vientos, the first of 2 home runs. And then top of the 6th, it gets worse. Sanchez is out of the game, and for some reason, Ruiz is in. Look, there's a lot of ways you could play the bullpen, and we'll get into the strategic element. But the one that bothered me the most is in a do-or-die situation, in a death situation, you can't have Ruiz in the game. You just can't. Anyway, he's in the game. Alonso takes him deep. So now it's 3-0. And like you could feel the tension at Citizens Bank Park. And you could feel the tension as it just made waves throughout the entire Delaware Valley as people are watching. We're sitting there and you're going, oh my God, no. I was in full fright mode. First 2 batters of the 6th inning, you know what happened, right? You had the Clemens hit a foul ball, fly out, and then you had the pop-up by Schwarber. And then Turner gets a base hit. That was a big hit. Turner, pesky, right? Turner had some good at-bats. Turner played well yesterday. He was important yesterday. He was on base yesterday. Right down to the bottom of the 9th, he was on base. He gets that big hit, and then here it is, bright lights Bryce. This is why you love a superstar. This is why he's one of the greatest players in the game today. Because when you need him the most, as you're staring death, and they were staring death, and Bryce hits the Bryce bomb. And that was it. Nick, who winds up being the hero, hits the net goes back to back with the next one off. It was just a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. And it's 3-3. And it really saved them, right? Like that moment, I know things get wild from there on, but that moment of Bryce Harper saved them. Because if you don't score there, it's over, right? Like you could see it. That's the 6th inning. Now, all of a sudden, you go into the 7th inning, and you're deeper in the lineup, and it's not going to happen. That one moment, that Bryce 2-run home run, which puts him back in and sets the stage for Castellanos, it was amazing. It's helped save the series. I really think that swing is what saved the series. He was great yesterday. I mean, obviously, he spits on that 3-2 pitch in the 9th to set up the Castellanos game winner. Right, he was great at first, two fantastic plays at first base. He's the great superstar. He really is. He's clutch. He's every bit of one of the best players that has ever put on a Phillies uniform. I mean, to come in that big, when that moment that you needed, with that thrilling win, oh my God, it was just a thing of beauty. Just a thing of beauty. And then, of course, it gets dicey, right? Because Nimmo goes yard off of Kirkering. It's 4-3. Then the Phillies come back. They take the lead, right? It's 6-4. And you're like, oh my God, this is wild. And top of the ninth, and there is Vientos again. And I had a bad feeling. I was talking to my buddy Tooch, my cousin Joey, and I'm like, I think you gotta. I don't like Strom as a man. He hits lefties, Vientos, and sure enough, I don't know how he hit that pitch. It was a tough pitch to hit, and it's 6-6. That sets up for the heroics. Bottom of the ninth, Castellanos. The greatest was after the game. They ask him, "Hey, what's going through your mind?" And he goes, "Nothing." And that's the truth. What he's about is, I'm just going to go up and I'm just going to swing the bat. And he had the moment. So Nick is the hero. And of course, he had the moment early in the game where they say you can read his lips, and he goes, "The bleeping people," right? After they booed him and they mock cheer when he didn't swing at the breaking pitch. But that's Castellanos. He also had a great play in the outfield. That sliding catch that he's done a couple times was a big play. So Castellanos, huge, right? The game tying a home run at 3, and then of course the big hit. Oh wow, what a thrilling game! The Phillies have life. Now the only question is this: does the life translate into momentum? The fact that the Mets had the Phillies dead. The Phillies were lying there. They were done. And they come back to life. I mean, that was a resurrection piece to what they did yesterday. They were done. It was the 6th inning. They're down 3-0, 2 outs in the 6th. They're done. And they come back to win. Is that enough to spur them on? The good thing about it, in a 3-game series, you get Wheeler one more time. You get to throw Wheeler, and he's the best pitcher of anyone out there. You get Nola. Nola's going to be key, right? Because you get Nola for game 3. Having Nola and Wheeler pitching 2 of the 3 games, it's got to be advantage Phillies. The only thing, these Mets just don't die. You want to talk about vampires. They do not die. They have scored 20 runs in the 8th and 9th innings in the last week. In 7 games. 20 runs. It's just unheard of. 20 runs in the last 7 games in the 8th and 9th inning. Oh, my God. So they're vampires. This is just an incredible series. Incredible series. And thank God for Bryce Harper. Let's just say it. All right? TGBH is my motto all day. Good morning, my boys. JP, John Zabata, VT, Violations, Greg.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The Mets magic, gone. They had it, they brought it, they stomped on it. Nicky stomped on it. Their confidence is going to be shaken. The comeback kids are dead. This is over.
Can't stop them. Bryce Harper. Oh, I love the way you open it up, cuz.
We got 2 out of 3 with Nola and Wheels.
Yeah, I God bless you. I can't have that mindset. I do not have that mindset. I hope you're right. I pray you're right. I feel great about having Nola and Wheeler, but I can't be proclaiming anything. I can't proclaim their magic's dead. I can't proclaim anything like that.
They stink. The bullpen stinks. They got a couple. That hit off Strom was so lucky. I hate Alonso. It's Saturday.
Listen, don't offend the gods, please. All right.
I'm good with the gods. Trust me.
Don't offend. Just because your wife is good with the gods doesn't mean that you're good with the gods. All right.
We're good. We got a little tincture we sent out into the universe for the Mets.
I love that. Just don't go overboard proclaiming anything. No proclamations. All right. I'm just sitting here thinking of what the worst case scenario would have been today. I was dreading coming in today. I was going. I'm sitting there, and I was on Tucci's couch, right, watching the game, and I'm going, dude, I don't want to go in tomorrow. We're just looking at this whole thing, and they can't do anything offensively. It's 2 games, right? After the Schwarber bomb, they just go radio silent, and then for the first 5 2/3 innings, nothing, right? No big hits, no string hits together, nothing. And all I'm thinking about is, oh my God, why didn't I become a lawyer or a doctor or something else? An author? Oh my God.
Said you had to cover Philly sports.
It's good, man. Bryce, that was a hit. Listen,
he's the greatest. I love him. He's the greatest. Yeah. He is the greatest. Listen, there's been Utley and Howard and Jimmy, right? There's been Schmitty and Boa and all those guys, through the years. And I'm not. It's not recency bias. He is the most clutch. Like, he is such a clutch player.
Dude, and what he does.
Oh, my God.
After his second play in the field, I texted Jamie. I was like, dude, he's willing them to win today. He was insane in the field. His glove at first base for only playing there a year and a half is.
Well, I was going to say, lest we forget, he's been there for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what he's done, those 2 they were great plays, laying out, screaming line drive. He's such a great player, man. He is.
Dude, 32 postseason games. He's hitting 327 with 12 home runs. That's a pace of 61 home runs.
Dude,
in the postseason, these are good pitchers in the postseason.
You know what's funny? I was saying, Tucci and I were going, there's no way you got to pitch them. In the 5th inning, in the 6th inning, I don't know why the Mets would pitch to him. Like, I honestly, I don't know why you would pitch to him.
Well, the broadcast brought it up too.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, listen, and they were right. I mean, I didn't care for it, but they were right. That Castellanos would have to play a huge role in whether they won. Mm-hmm. And, of course he did. But in that situation, it's a lot different hitting the home run 3-2, right? When they try to groove a get-me-over fastball to get ahead of the count, than it is 2 on, 2 outs. Now, Nicky might have come through.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you would take your chances to pitch to Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same thing. In Game 1, with Ohtani and the Padres and the Dodgers, I'm going, you can't pitch to Ohtani. Like, you just can't. Certain guys, you got to go. You just got to buck the old adage of putting tying runs on and all whatever. You just can't face these guys.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. That one hit by Harper was a meatball, a fastball. Like, this is got to be all junk in the dirt.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't even screw around. Like, they screwed around. And in the 9th inning would set the stage for Nick. But, but you remember, they were like, how could you pitch to him? Even in the 9th inning. I mean, he ran up count to 3-2.
And can we say to the Phillies fans, we love you bleeping people. Like, they come out and they boo. And there was a shift with Nicky. He's 3 for 3 after he gets the booed, the mock cheer because he sits on a ball in the dirt. I love the Philadelphia fans.
Well, it was funny you said these bleeping people. Like,
I love you.
Like, it is classic. They are. They're amazing. It was funny. I was going back and forth with A-Rod yesterday.
Yeah.
Nice. And Alex was saying, what's the feel? What's the mood like? I'm like, the mood's about to explode. I go, if they lose this game, people are going to go wild. They're going to boo. They'll boo them off the field.
Yeah, I mean, I was pacing yesterday. I don't know about
you. Yeah, pacing. That's right, JP. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, but don't get it twisted. Like, these people love. And what we saw yesterday was incredible love, right? It's like, come on, we're into the game. We're riding with you. But, dude.
Got to give us something.
You're like, dude, you can't swing at that stuff. We know that when Nick lunges, it's not a good at bat. When it's a breaking pitch and he's flailing, we've talked about it for since he's gotten here.
Yeah.
That's it. I still don't know why pitchers would throw him anything other than like a fastball, right? But whatever. But, listen, there's a reason why we had that, the fans that reacted that way.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, we know they're good. Like, we know they can rake. But I think what also, too, like, in the back of our head, like, we're seeing what's going on in this series right now. The Mets, they have, like, that kind of like that it factor right now. Like, they came in here ready to play. We talked about these matches beforehand. Dude, the fact that, like, their bullpen actually hasn't been terrible in the first 2 games here. I mean, obviously, they allowed us some big hits to Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos. But this series, it's a boxing match right now.
No, it's incredible. I mean, I felt like the end of, Rocky 2 when he wins, but he's staggering around.
There were so many Rocky references yesterday.
There had to be, because it was that kind of fun. It was that kind of game. It was a flow. Blow by blow, punch after punch. It was. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted over the weekend because we went from a sky-high Saturday,
I know, man.
right, where Wheeler's electric, and then Schwarber, boom, it's 1-0. Like, all right, like game 1's in the bag. It reminded me of the 2002 NFC Championship game when the Eagles have an opening kickoff with Brian Mitchell for like 70-some yards. Deuce runs it in, right? They're up 7-0. They they get a turnover. They're up 10-0. And I'm going, it's over, right? Like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The way that game started with Wheeler Electric and Schwarber, it was the same way, 10-0. It was 1-0 equal 10-0 in football.
It's weird because I was there and it was different in the ballpark. It was not great. And I thought the first pitch stunk. LA and Kevin Stocker, they're like, what are they, just looking for someone in the house? You had a week to plan for this. It was like, and the crowd was waiting for a Mets comeback. They were waiting at 1-0. They were on edge, and the crowd was scared.
But I'm talking about the moment Schwarber hits the home run.
In that moment, yeah.
That was exactly the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
Right? There was exactly that game in Tampa. Everybody thought they were going to roll.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like the third, fourth inning. And then it started to get a little tense.
Yeah. Yep.
Because then the bats, right? The idea that the bats would be rusty, that we've seen the bats go silent, that's when it started to go, okay, all right. And then incrementally, you started to get nervous, and then more nervous, and then more nervous. And then it translated into yesterday, where they got to go, 5 2/3 with no real offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything about even the post game Saturday, they're like complaining about the shadows. Saturday was just a clunker, and it's a shame because Wheeler was just a gem, man.
Great start to the
Dude,
game.
And everything.
Dude, 30. I've never seen this. 30 swings and misses. Are you kidding me? 9 strikeouts. He was unhittable.
Yeah,
he was on one hit. He was unhittable. That was. People are going, oh, stop. Last week we were talking about the pitchers and Halliday versus Wheeler. Whatever. Like, you're talking about two. He reminds you of Halliday. Like, those dominant, And he had that start. Like, that was incredible.
No, he was pitching motivated, and you can clearly tell. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys think of Carlos Mendoza going with Sangai in game 1?
Well, it makes sense because you needed to go bullpen game anyway.
Yeah.
Because of how it's set up. And Senga wanted to pitch. You got to burn him for 2 innings.
Like a little mystery.
Right.
Phillies don't really know what they're
like he wasn't stretched out, so it wasn't like he was starting the game. Like it was a bullpen game.
Right,
He only threw 15 pitches up to that point, so there was never going to do anything else. I mean, it was a parlor trick, is what it was. They were going to go Peterson, and he had to give him something. It was his day. Remember that it was his day to pitch the other day. He came in the game in relief. They had to piecemeal it.
Yeah, I think we all thought it was going to be Peterson or me. Thought it was going to be Miguel on Friday, but then throughout the
the only thing that worries me going forward is the lefties. Like those junk lefties is the only thing that worries me. But like we've seen it. Like Bryce is the spirit animal, man. I mean, like he's incredible.
They have to be patient. I know it's hard for these guys at times, but my God, just sit on it. You're going to get something. They're throwing balls out of the zone, these junk balls. You just got to chill on them.
I mean, the take is the toughest thing. Look at Bohm. Look where Bohm's at right now.
Dude, Bohm,
like I think he's in a pretzel.
In 4 at-bats, I think he saw 7 pitches. Like, come on, bro.
That's why he sat.
Yeah.
It was 8 pitches, and that's why.
And then they throw in Sosa. And he had the highest chase rate, they said, of the season for the Phillies at like 53% or 48%.
But he's like, I don't blame Topper for that. I mean, I think you had to sit down Bohm. I mean, he just was in a pretzel. And again, it's a shame because even when he comes in, pop up.
I know.
Yeah.
First pitch.
You
got a loud roar too from the crowd.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's struggling.
Yeah.
How about Stott? Oh, dude, my God.
Play he made in the field.
Yeah, man. That was huge.
Fantastic. But the double, the triple he ropes down the line was just unbelievable, dude. Like that alone was just October magic. He comes up clutch, man. Even whether it's good at bat,
he does.
And he was in a terrible funk.
He works. He sees pitches. I think we have the Stott hit with the crowd noise unmuted, synced up.
That's incredible, man. That is so amazing. That place is just magical, man. It really is. It was magical yesterday, and
I do
needed
think, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think the Mets came in as the comeback kids with the vibe, and their confidence is going to be shaking a little bit. Yeah. A little bit of a pumpkin action. They're turning in a little bit of pumpkin. We'll see.
I can't go there. I mean, I can't. I mean, what makes you say that? Like they still came back.
Yeah,
they still came back in the 9th inning, right? And Vientos, that freaking and I'm with you. You can't stand him. You hate him. You hate the fans. Yeah. You hate everything about him. But damn,
that Vientos guy though,
dude, I can't proclaim them all of a sudden it's midnight. I can't do it.
And can we talk that broadcast crew? Mediocre at best.
Well, you can see that.
How much did we have to hear about the Edwin Diaz 7-out save, and he didn't even get through an inning?
No, that was the B team.
How do we get the B team? Philly, New York.
I know.
If that's the B team,
or the D team.
Did you see a lot of Mets fans?
No, there were not a lot of Mets fans. There were very minimal Mets fans on Saturday. I don't know about yesterday, but no, it was minimal.
Good job, guys.
All right, we got lots to get to. A busy day, busy show. We're talking about some football as well. Jim Salisbury, the great baseball writer, will join us coming up next to kind of go through the game. We'll do our playback, right, where we relive yesterday's instant classic. People calling it one of the greatest games in the history of MLB postseason. And it really was a thrilling one. So we'll talk to Jimmy coming up, the playback, and then our boy Fran Duffy will go over the NFL a little bit later on as we continue. Let's talk about Primo Hoagies. All right, you know what's funny? We talk about Primos. And tonight we're having a book party here at PHLY. And Zach Berman has come out with a great book on the Eagles, our man Z Berm. And so we're throwing them a party. So we got all of our diehards coming in. It's going to be a nice event. So we got to feed people. What better way to feed than Primos, right? Because they're going to send over an array of hoagie trays, an array of pickies, the whole thing, and everybody's going to be happy. People are going to be smiling. They're going to be loving it. Oh, this great Primo. It's a great treat, all right? It's great sports food, and it's just made with the best ingredients, right? The seeded roll, baked fresh in store every couple hours. They use only the best veggies. They only use the best Thuman meats and cheeses. Let's face it, that's why it's a classic. We talk about an instant classic. Primo's always is that. Download the new Primo Hoagies app, by the way, and your chance to win free hoagies for a year. Primo Hoagies. Just remember what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo.
It's also allergy season. If you can hear us, we're all sniffling, clogged. We wouldn't even be able to get out of bed if it wasn't for our rated allergy medications. So fall allergies, they're going through October into November, probably Christmas time. Main culprits, ragweed and mold. Ragweed's been off the charts anymore. So you know what happens. You inhale these allergens and you get a runny nose, itchy, watery eyes, wheezing, can't think straight. So what can you do? How do you get some relief? Well, first of all, sign up at Rite Aid Rewards. Emails at rateaid.com/rewards to receive email pollen alerts in your area. You know, shower frequently. We are the best smelling audience in town because we shower so much to avoid these allergies. And there's a bunch of over-the-counter options available for you at your local Rite Aid. Try a nasal rinse to help flush out your nasal passages. And when symptoms are flaring up and you know pollen counts are high, try some antihistamines such as Claritin and Zyrtec. Or if you like the nasal sprays, you can try some corticosteroids like Flonase and Nasacort. These are all available at Rite Aid, and Rite Aid's also got these products in their own name brand, save you a little bit of money. Still not enough relief? Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist if a different type of allergy medication like a decongestant might be necessary. And you can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations to get relief during allergy season.
All right, buddy. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, man. By the way, our man, Uncle Frank, says, violation on VG.
Oh.
Everybody's scared. That's in the chat, too. People are scared.
Violations on
No,
violations.
you can't be listen, it's not about being scared. You just can't proclaim that the Mets are done. Like, you can't do that.
Cooked.
You're going to get your spitting. You can spit on a 3-2 breaking ball. You can't spit on the baseball gods.
I respect the baseball guys.
No, you don't.
I do.
That's not a baseball god respect move.
I respect them. I revere them. I do more than respect. I revere them.
I will say,
but
just
don't
for
revere
game
the Mets.
3,
Nobody's going to revere. You're not revering the Mets. It's just about revering the game.
The Mets are immune. The Mets are the one thing. The Mets are like Satan. You're allowed to talk ill will about the Mets.
They are like Satan, but the game, I worry about that.
you gotta like Nola at City Field Game 3. That's
Calling
all
them
I'm saying.
vampires. They're evil. Nicky's got
They
a
are.
necklace of garlic up there at the plate with his chest all
Holy
exposed.
water. The holy water.
Yeah.
Crossing put that down. Holy water. That was funny.
Bring it up to City Field.
All right. Let's get my man. He's covered many October incredible games. Jim Salisbury, the great Jim Stakes, joins us. Stakes, where does that one rank, man? That was one of the great ones.
Yeah, I don't know if I can rank it, but it was
Well,
in
you know
the
what I'm saying.
rare.
I mean, I'm not asking you to rank them, but
Yeah, I know. I know. Jimmy's double or in the gap off Broxton with Fransky's great call all those years ago. Remember they kind of synced it up with the
Yes.
Ray Liotta shower scene.
Jimmy, the shower, Jimmy.
That was great. And obviously Bedlam at the Bank, the Harper home run against the Padres. Put him
Through
in
the
World Series.
raindrops.
Great. But honestly, when Harper hits that home run, and Turner gets the hit, and that was with 2 outs. So Turner gets a 2-out hit. Harper hits the home run halfway up the batter's eye, and the place explodes. And honestly, you could feel the stadium shaking a little bit. It brought back some Bedlam at the Bank vibes,
Yes.
and it brought back some Jimmy vibes for me. So it was right up there, man. It was one of those games you look back and you say, God, I'm so happy I was there.
Yeah, man. I started the show with an ode to Bryce because that moment. You're staring certain death, right? Like you wasted Wheeler in Game 1 and that gem, and the first 5 2/3 innings are again struggle. You can't get anything together, and he's so clutch. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why you pitched him, but he's so clutch. He's just a great player, man. He's a true super. We used to complain that Mike Schmidt wasn't clutch back in the day in this town. Well, you can't say that about Bryce Harper.
No way. This guy, he delivers. And, am I being over dramatic by saying that potentially saved their season, the victory? But the victory started with Harper,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't think I am. You go down 0-2.
I said the same thing. The season's over. Series over. The Phillies are dead. You can't go down 0-2 at home. Yeah. First of all, the numbers, everything against it, right? Momentum. They go limp out. They get swept.
Yeah.
That meant everything, Jimmy.
That team over there is en fuego, and they got all this momentum and the mojo and the sipping the magic potion. They come down here and take two. I mean, they are feeling invincible going home. So I think, obviously, the victory, but it started with the Turner hit with 2 outs, the Harper home run, the Castellanos home run, that rally. It brought the dugout alive because I was talking to Real Muto after the game. He said the dugout was tight. The dugout was tense. I mean, they were even tense coming into the series. He said, I don't know why, but we were tight. And that inning, that eruption just made everybody breathe a little bit. The victory made everybody breathe a little bit. And you can't play when you're tight. You just can't deliver when you're tight. So it was like the tale of 2 games. I mean, they were kind of sleepwalking early. They were chasing. Turner was chasing. Castellanos had what a game he had. What a season he had. This was kind of a microcosm of his season. He started poorly, and he finished with a bang. And he started yesterday poorly, and he finished with an incredible bang, an important bang. He had the quintessential Philadelphia experience yesterday, Anthony. He, in the 4th inning, is booed, and then he is mocked by the fans.
Yep.
And then he hits a game-tying home run in his next 3 at-bats. Game-tying home run. Huge base hit to precede the triple or help set up the triple by Stott.
Yeah.
And then he walks it off. And, he didn't want to talk about, getting booed and mocked and after the game, but he did say one thing I thought was great about, that he said it locked him in. He said it locked me in. He kind of almost said it under his breath, but he said it locked him in. So you talk about the fans being almost like a participant, you know what I mean, on the team.
Well, that's the title of
the book. They can lift you, and in a weird way, they lift him. He said they locked him in, and he had 3 sensational, humongous, important at-bats after that where he produced runs and helped them win this game and tie this series and change the entire complexion going to New York. They couldn't wait to get to the bus. They could not wait to get to the buses, to get up there and get behind Aaron Nola, a guy they believe in, a guy they have tremendous confidence in. And I'll tell you what, they would have been limping to the bus if they were 0-2. Yes. I got to ask VG, how was the new wave, man? That place must have been erupting.
I ran into Jimmy at the pub the one day. I was not there all weekend. I was at the ballpark on Saturday and watched the game with my mom over in Jersey yesterday.
Nice.
But I heard it was rocking. Heard it was jammed.
It's funny. My wife, when I got home, she said, I don't know who it was, but I could hear people yelling in the neighborhood when Harper hit that home run.
How great is that? It's just it's part of the Philadelphia experience. The title of the book about the Philadelphia fans is going to be Boo, Mock, Love, right? You have Eat, Pray, Love. This is Boo, Mock, Love all day long, man.
Yeah. I mean, amazing. They factor in the games. I mean, you look what they did for Turner last year with that standing ovation. And if indeed they put a little sneer in Nick Castellanos yesterday, pissed him off a little bit, and as he said, in his words, it kind of focused him, then, ride with it. They have an impact, man. They have an impact.
All right, let's go into some of the strategy and some of the where it looks, all right, because there's a lot of chess to be played in this series when it comes to the pitchers. Let's go Phillies first. The only move that I really was upset at was Ruiz. Like, I don't think in this kind of moment where your season hangs in the balance that you could pitch him. I thought Topper should have used Kerkering in that spot. Right? Like, either you leave Sanchez in, but I was fine with it, right? Third time around the order. All right, but you can't go Ruiz.
Yeah, it was a bit of a head scratcher. It seemed to be one of those kind of things where they script the game if they get what they want out of Sanchez. But you bring him in, you're down 2-0. He gives up a run, and it just seems like they're very committed to. We have certain guys we're going to pitch when we're behind, and certain guys we're going to save till we're ahead. Now I know that kind of all got thrown away at the end when the lead was going back and forth. But I think Kirkering was up in that
He was.
5th inning, and I was a little bit not confused, but I questioned the move to go to Ruiz as well, because he's probably on your depth chart number 6 in the bullpen, and you got 5 guys you really like down there. I mean, Alvarado has slipped a little bit, but nonetheless, they have 5 guys that seem to have Rob Thompson's trust, and they go to your 6th best option. It was a head scratcher to me, it proved close. That was a big run, and it made them have to have even bigger comeback. And the one that I also scratched my head on was the Estevez coming out after 8. He threw 8 pitches.
6
the guy's
strikes.
a horse.
Yeah.
He threw 8 pitches. I think he could have brought him back for the 9th. Instead, you go to Strom, who has struggled 2 games in a row now. It just seems like maybe the layoff has hurt him and Hoffman, who are your 2 best relievers. And, that would make some sense. Relievers, you hear all the time, well, I got to get this guy in the game. He hasn't pitched in 2 days. Relievers like that volume. They like that frequency. And I think, it helps them maintain their deliveries, their command. It looks like he's having trouble getting the ball in on righties. That was always pretty effective for him with that fastball. So a little rust there on Strom, but I guess maybe the good news is they've picked him and Hoffman have gotten in games now, so maybe that knocks some of that rust off going into game 3.
Like you, I was thinking the same thing. I guess they wanted Lindor to bat right, which is why they did that, because otherwise you bring him back, you bring Estevez back, and then you bring Strom in to face Nimmo.
And he was maybe he had something to do with keeping Winker on the bench. I don't know, because
it would have been Lindor. Now think about it. It would have been Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo, right? Or Bader. You had Bader there too, right?
Vientos. Bader. They would have brought in Winker for Bader. So maybe that had something to do with it. I wish I could give you a better answer. I wish I had the time to have dived into it a little bit in the post-game clubhouse, but
it's interesting. I also think they wanted Lindor to bat right instead of left.
Possibly, yeah. And it was such a frenzy after the game, trying to get Harper, trying to get Castellanos, trying to get Stott, that some of those strategic questions, I just didn't have the opportunity to speak with people.
But it was fascinating how it all played out. Now the Mets, right? Like, I get what they're doing. You got to bring Diaz in to face the heart of the lineup, right? Like, that's your money guy, right? That's how you do it.
That was the ball game. That was the highest. Sometimes the save is not in the 9th inning, but they were going. That was their kill shot there, and the Phillies jumped them. I mean, Stott got him. Stott's had a rough year. This is a guy with an electric fastball, but he kind of hung a little slider to Stott. Stott was all over it. That was humongous. What a hit by Bryson Stott. What an immense contribution there.
It was amazing, too, because you saw his bat being sped up by the fastball. So he's able to yank that thing right down the line.
No question. Yeah, he was all over it. I mean, he sniffed it right out. It was up. Castellanos hit a couple sliders that were up. One for the home run, one for the game-winning hit. I mean, he's amazing when you throw him a spinner kind of over the heart of the plate, maybe a little bit middle in. He can, when he's going good, he sniffs that pitching mistake out, and you can just see him kind of uncoil that bat head and really do damage on that pitch. So, just like confidence is so important in all sports and everything you do in baseball. I just saw a team that had its dauber down early, and the confidence they walked out of that ballpark last night, series changing, potentially series changing, and feeling like they're in a good space with Aaron Nola getting the ball in Game 3. We talked so much about that Game 2-3 decision. Well, Sanchez pitched well, and Now it's 1-1, and you got Aaron Nola, a guy who's I think he's faced the Mets like 27 times in his career. He's had some really dynamite games against them. Had a game a few years ago in Citi Field where he struck out the first 10 batters of the game.
Yeah.
So if he's down, I think, in this era of everybody wants to be up here a little bit with that fastball, I still think he's a guy that needs to pitch to the lower part of the zone and get the ball moving both ways, change speeds. John Smoltz compares him to a modern-day Greg Maddux. I mean, he's not Greg Maddux, but in terms of style of pitching and how he approaches things, there's probably a similarity. So I think he's a great guy to have on the mound. Harper was talking about, how excited he was to get up there because he loves the energy and the atmosphere. And he used the word, it's going to be a hostile environment. He loves it. He feeds off it. He'll pound his chest, figuratively and bathe in it, where Aaron Nola, he just will be unflappable, but it won't bother him.
Well, and that's where it sets up great, right? That's why, you know what? It was funny. A buddy of mine was like, I don't know. I would have started. When the minute they lost game 1, a friend of mine was like, dude, they should come back with Nola in game 2. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, first of all, the home road splits from Sanchez are dramatic. And the other thing is, too, like, game 3 up there, their first home game, it will be crazy. And I'd much rather have Nola, who is so much calmer than Sanchez on the mound in that situation.
Yeah, and I think Sanchez is pretty calm as well. But in terms of making a midstream pitching decision, I mean, I think you have a plan and you stick with it. If you're gonna make a decision on your game 2 starter based on what happens in game 1, if we've lost game 1, I'm going to go with you because I actually trust you more.
Right.
What kind of a message are you sending to the guy who actually has to pitch game 3 that is going to be very important as well? I don't think you manage players that way. They need to go to bed the night before, 2 nights before, knowing what they're going to be doing, have a plan, have a routine, set their body, set their mind. You can't have that uncertainty. You won't last long as a manager if you do. So
no, and I'm with you. It's funny. A guy who told me that it works in baseball.
Yeah, really, and I have another guy who works in baseball who was saying, I wouldn't do it. I would not.
Yeah. And I say the same thing. I wouldn't do it. I also, again, knowing that the atmosphere at Citi Field, it will be crazy, I just much rather have Nola in that spot.
But I don't send messages to one guy that I don't trust you. I mean, that's terrible managing.
Yeah.
And if you were going to hold the number 2 start up in the air based on what happens to one, you're sending a message to somebody.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. So let's dive in. A couple of the guys, right? So we know it was good to see Turner. I thought he played an important role yesterday, right? He got we talked about the walk that preceded the Harper home run, right? Huge. He was on base. He stole bases. And again, in the 9th inning, same thing.
Yeah, he had a great game. He came out, guns ablaze too. Base hit, stolen base. He brought that early lift. He had a tough at bat in the 3rd inning, but the 2-out hit in the 6th, and then he drew that huge 2-out walk in the 9th.
Yes,
that was a humongous play in that game. And then they pitch around Harper, and Castellanos makes him pay. That is so key because clearly they're picking their spots when they pitch to Harper, and they obviously pitched around him in the 9th inning, and that's going to be a strategy the Mets will continue to use and other teams will continue to use if this postseason goes on for the Phillies. But teams will have reservations about doing it if Castellanos swings it like he did in those last 3 at-bats. And he swung it great in those last 3 at-bats.
That's what we talked about, Turner being such a big key because it sets it up for Bryce. Like what do you do with Bryce? Because if Turner's on base, it makes things really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and he's ahead of Harper, and Castellanos is behind Harper, and it's like a NASCAR race. You draft off the other cars, and Harper can draft off those two. One guy's ahead of him on base. You get on base, Harper's going to see some potentially more fastballs because that guy can run.
Yeah.
Behind him, if Castellanos is swinging it, they're going to have to give Harper a little something now and then to nibble on because they're afraid that you got a beast behind them. That's the way a lineup works. It's like a NASCAR race. Everybody feeds off each other. Everybody drafts off each other.
So what do you do with Bohm?
He's in there. He's in there, and I say, I love you, and go out there and take it to Sean Manaea. And,
listen, against the lefties, he's got to be in there. But
he'll be in there. He's definitely in there. The thing is,
what do you do with him from a mental standpoint? Like, what are you telling him?
I've already, if I'm the manager, I've already told him. And Rob Thompson's a great communicator. I'm sure he's already told him. We're here for 11 wins, and you just feels like you're really frustrated and you're pressing a lot. I'm going to give this guy Sosa a chance and see what he can do. And I want you to kind of breathe a little bit and relax and come back refreshed. Now, he did get in that game yesterday. He had 2 poor at-bats, the first one especially. First pitch,
popped up.
Kind of opened it and popped it up. Clearly, he's frustrated. It can't happen. He's a good player. He's a really good. I'm a big fan. He's a good player. But Thompson, this was a move I don't know if he makes in the past, but I think previous postseasons and getting burned a little bit has shaped him a little bit for this postseason. A very uncharacteristic move. He doesn't bench guys.
Right.
He kind of rides his guys, but he saw a lot of frustration, a lot of negative energy, and he thought Sosa could bring some energy to the team. I'll be honest with you. When I first heard his reasoning, I was wondering, when I first heard Bohm was benched, I'm like, okay, he's struggling. He's obviously frustrated. He clearly was frustrated in game 1. Is his hand hurting? No, his hand's not hurting. I want to bring some more energy. I'm like, well, boy, you waited for this postseason all year, and you need energy after game 1. But I think he was more or less trying to eliminate some of the negative energy that Bohm was bringing. Bohm needs to get in there tomorrow and punch his glove and say, I'm a good player and I'm on a good team and I'm important and I'm going to help these guys. And then go out and knock one in the gap and do this to his chest and feel good, because you have to be on top of the world mentally. You have to feel good about yourself to perform well. You're not going to perform well when you're down on yourself. So, get over it. Get over it and be the all-star that you were this year.
Do you play Stott?
That's a huge question, I think. Now, we talked a lot about that, and you and I, coming into the series, said we would have platooned him because he's had trouble with lefties.
But does that hit? Does the triple change things?
Yeah. Now, I don't know. Knowing Rob's a great communicator. He may have leading up to the series, he may have told these guys, this is kind of our plan. This is our loose plan. He may not have. I don't know. But, I look at it this way. Manaea's tough on lefties, but there are some reverse splits in there. He's actually, in some cases, been tougher on righties if you dig into some of those numbers. But I'm a big believer in confidence, and Stott had a big hit. Maybe you stick with him so he builds on that. Maybe you get Sosa in there because he's a right-hander. But if Stott doesn't start, there's no reason he shouldn't maintain confidence. They really only have one bullpen guy down there, lefty, Patterson, that they trust. They have 2 lefties, but Patterson's the guy they really trust. And I don't know if we'll see him. So at some point, Stott's going to be in that game to face some righties. So I think he has a chance to be a big contributor again. But it's like, you got to think of your players' confidence and their mindset. Some people say, I don't worry about their feelings, but it's not necessarily feelings.
No,
I don't care about feelings. I'm talking about confidence, because a confident player is a good player, and a confident player is a guy who delivers. Yeah. And maybe Stott found something, and you want to take a chance that it's there. I know it's a lefty, but I was looking at some numbers. Him and Sosa, they've both hit Manaea okay. They both have a home run off him. They've both gotten some walks. small sample sizes, but neither one of them has been dominated, at least over the course of their body of
Well, the
work.
reason why I like Stott coming off the bench is you're going to, like you said, you're going to use him, right? Like, so Minaya goes 5, 6 tops, and so you're going to need him at some point. So I'd rather use him latter part of the game where I got an advantage, and he's pretty clutch. So I like having Stott to come out as a weapon.
I agree with you. I don't think either way. I don't think you can lose. Because they have a lot of righties in their bullpen. They're righty dominant in their bullpen, and he can certainly come in and help you. I don't think it's a huge drop off with Sosa defensively, but Sosa didn't have a great game yesterday. I don't know if that figures into Rob's thinking. In some ways, it's a really easy decision. You go to platoon, but start having such a big hit, and in the back of your mind, you're always wondering if it's that one hit that's gonna ignite a guy for like a 3-week stretch.
Yeah.
So it's something that Rob Thompson gets paid the big bucks for.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jim, Stott's hitting 429 and 7 at-bats against Minaya. And yesterday, Sosa's chase rate was the highest of a Philly all year at like 45%. I mean,
and Minaya actually is a little tougher on righties. He's, he doesn't face a ton of lefties because a lot of teams will protect their lefties against him. I think there's reasons on both sides, but if he decided to stick with Stott, I would understand it. If he came into the series saying I'm going to platoon here, I would understand it. If he decided tomorrow I'm going to stick with Stott, I would also understand it.
I also don't think it's coincidence that Cody Clemens gets in the game in the 6th inning in this. That's when they come alive. His at-bats look really good.
He had that shot foul that was about 3 feet foul off the line. He gives you great at-bats.
He gives you great at-bats. I would love to find a way to get him in the game more,
listen,
too.
and they will. I mean, at some point when you need offense, he'll go to Clemens in that spot. With the lefty, you're not going to start. I mean, you want the defense with Rojas with Nola on the mound.
Yeah, he's a nice player, man. He's a nice off the bench guy. Brings you some energy and has good at bats. I like his swing. You're right about he lined that ball down the right field line. It's funny. His father was at the game, and he was sitting over same level as the press box, but he was kind of sitting over in one of those perches. Sort of toward the third base side, and I was watching him as that ball sailed down the line. And like a true baseball dad, he didn't even move. He just was like, didn't even move. It was, but yeah, the kid's been a good contributor all year, and going up and down like he has, but he doesn't miss a beat. He's a nice guy to have on a team.
He really is. Stakes, man, this is unbelievable. What great theater, man! This is incredible. How do you view it, man? Last thing, I'm sure we'll be talking to you tomorrow, but how do you view the next 2 games up there?
If anybody can go up there and stifle the Mets, it's Aaron Nola. He's really good. He's playoff tested. He's unflappable. The environment won't bother him. And I think the Phillies found something that was missing for a game and a half. They were sleepwalking. Their offense wasn't there, and they just didn't look like a confident ball club. And, as Real Muto said after the game, when they had that 6th inning, it was like, okay, we can breathe now. We can breathe now. And that carried him through the rest of the game, and I think it'll carry him into Game 3. And I think Harper, they're going to be all over Harper in that stadium. They're going to be all over him, and he's going to love every minute of it.
He'll love every second of it. Yeah, it's going to be great theater, man. Really could be good stuff. Stakes, great job as always, buddy.
But it ain't over. It ain't over. The Mets, I mean, it's 1-1. I mean, that's a dumb thing to say. Nobody thinks it's over. These are 2 good teams, and the Mets are still – they come in as a tough out, and they're going to remain a tough out, but the Phillies have to feel a lot better about their chances.
Totally. Dude, they've scored 20 runs in the 8th and 9th inning in the last week.
It's crazy. I mean – how good of a player is that Vientos, man?
He's terrific. It's the one. It was the one at AB I did not like with Strom. Listen, I don't know how he hit that pitch, but how he hit it out. But Jeez, I mean, he scares me, that kid.
He's good. He's good. The Mets are a good club. The Phillies are a good club. It's a great series, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate Jim Stakes. That's right. Jim Salisbury, incredible stuff, man.
Can't stand them.
No, I'm with you. You can't stand him. Nimmo, you can't stand. He's chirping. This portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Parks online sportsbook and casino app. Let's go to our man, the ambassador of Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. That's it. The brain. Brain.
Red, the brain finder.
Hello, brain. Top of the morning.
You know, Anthony, I stayed up last night till like 2 a.m. or whatever. It felt like 2
Watching a
a.m.
football game?
Rooting my Steelers -2.5 bet on just for the last play of the game for Dak to break my heart. So
I know.
wow.
You waited through that long delay, right? You
I
were
did.
watching Pods Dodgers, and then you
was
go over to
crazy.
football.
Yeah, listen, but look, they had 3 turnovers, Pittsburgh, and they still couldn't win. So I mean,
Yeah.
look, Dallas was the better team last night for sure. In reality, I give them credit. They really came down the last
All
play.
right, let's talk baseball, though. Come on, let's.
Yeah, can't wait.
I gotta get your thoughts yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, you talk about a game, Anthony, that had everything. It was one of the best games of the year. Look, you look at these games the Mets have played recently with the Braves, this 7-6 or 8-7 game, and then this game. These were 2 of the best games of the entire season. Look, they're down 3-0. You know, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening again. And then, Bryce hits the home run. Then they hit another one, they'd make it 3-3. And then the 2-out home run by Nemo, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't freaking believe this. You're like,
I
of
hate
all
that
the
Nimmo.
things.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I hate him, and he's chirping.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Yeah.
And then look, they score 3, and incredible. By the way, can I ask you a question on a side note? Maybe I'm being biased. I mean, you're always unbiased with stuff. Did you guys think that in the 7th inning when Diaz came in because they were like, oh, he definitely swung. I didn't think he did. Schwarber, am I just totally off? The check swing on Schwarber when there was bases loaded, I think it was and Diaz came in. I didn't think he swung.
See, the problem is when you show a replay, it always looks like you break the wrist. The replay looked like he swung, but
Okay, but anyway, but look, but the Phillies bullpen, it's like you look at it like this. I mean, Hoffman, I thought has been their best guy all year. But I mean, look, they wasted Wheeler's best game of his career, right? Literally. The guy's had an incredible career. That was probably the best game of his career. What he allowed 1 hit, I think. He was just utterly incredible.
Dude, 1 hit, 30 swings and misses.
It's amazing. I mean, you know what he looked like? And it's funny, you'll get this, Anthony. He looked like, when a closer comes in, he can give you 1 good inning because he just go all out. It's funny, I was talking to my brother, he's like, there's no way he's able to keep this pace up. He looks like a dominant closer.
He did 7 of them. Yep.
Yeah, and usually a starter can't just do that. That's why it's much harder to be a starter, obviously, versus a great reliever who only has to do 1 inning at a time.
No, the fact that they wasted that but came back to win, because when you wasted effort like that, oh my God, that just tortures you, right? And then you fall behind, and their bats are quiet, and it's tense, right? Like that's what was a big deal. That the fact that they overcame all of that. And with Bryce being the magician, once again, clutch.
He's amazing. But it's interesting, Anthony. You look at the pitchers, right? Strom had such a great stats this year. Hoffman had such great stats this year. And then in the biggest game of the year, they both, kind of implode. And it's like, man, and I always say, it's just the randomness of a short series. Like if this was a July 8th game against the Pirates, no one would give a damn, right? But in the biggest game of the year, you have to have, like Devin Williams, right? Devin Williams for the Brewers, biggest game of the year. He just doesn't get it done. Probably 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. He does pick the wrong spot. I mean, you gotta. This kind of reminds me. Tell me if you guys agree. Remember the Sixers-Knicks, those 2 back-to-back games, when they were crazy. Yeah, the game 5. I think it was game 5 and game 2, where the Sixers blew 1, but they were up 6 with 30 seconds, and they were down 5 with 20 seconds. It's these late theatrics have been like that with the Mets. You
Yeah,
know,
no, it's a great.
but,
That's a great example. It's a great example.
but I heard
Speaking
what
of the
Salisbury was
Sixers and
saying
Knicks,
about the.
after the Yankees game, funny VG was showing me the video. They're outside the Yankees game. They started chanting in the concourse, coming out chanting "F and Bede." Bleep and Bede. Embiid's become the new Brady for them up there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also because
Tom
he had
Brady, and then they're going bleep and Bede. Like it's unbelievable. They're chanting that after the Yankees game.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Anthony, Jazz Chisholm got a stolen base.
Yes, that was your
need
pizza
one
bet.
more. Need one more for a huge payout there. But anyway, listen, Phillies. Look, as I said, Manet has actually been very consistent, Anthony. I know he's not like a dominant, like hard throwing guy, something like that. But I looked it up, and his 33 starts, and 28 of the 33, I believe it was, he's given up 3 or less runs. What does that mean? You're probably going to get a professional effort out of the guy. That's what it means, where you're probably not going to tattoo the guy where it's going to be an easy Phillies win. It's probably going to be a game after 6 innings. Both teams are probably going to score between 1 and 3 runs. So it's probably going to come down to the bullpen again. And Phillies bullpen, these first 2 games just hasn't really looked great, but hopefully they can get it done. I like Noel to
better
win.
yesterday. He had better movement. I mean, I know he got hit with the Nimmo home run, but he looked better. You haven't used Alvarado. I know he's worried about. He must be worried about.
Yeah, it's funny. He was their best reliever the last few years, I felt like, but he obviously doesn't have that trust. Clearly,
Estevez looked great, right? You got to get Hoffman back.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's look. They needed to win the game. They did. It's the best of 3 series. I mean, anything can happen. By the way, the Dodgers. I mean, that's been I think San Diego is going to win that. I do. I think San Diego, just something about them. They seem to have like the eye of the tiger.
No, they were incredible. You saw it last night. I mean, and the Dodgers bullpen's not good, so they just pound them. Yeah.
San Diego definitely has probably the least weaknesses of any of these teams from top to bottom, starting pitching, bullpen, hitting, everything. But look, I'm praying the Phillies can get it done, Anthony. I think they will. I do. And look, their whole edge is, look, they have Wheeler. If they could split these 2 games, you probably have, let's call him the first or second best pitcher on the planet. And a game 5, if it doesn't work out, you can't ask for more than that, right?
You got it's a best of 3. Now I know both 2 games are in New York, but you got Wheeler and Nola going, right? Like that's a big advantage.
Yeah. Well, that's what you pay. That's why these guys make, Anthony, what they make, because they've been their aces for the past 5-6 years, whatever it's been. And this is, again, these are the games. Again, the Pittsburgh Pirates game in June and July, whatever. This is the game that's going to, that they need. And it's like either you get it done in these small sample sizes or you don't. And if you don't, you're sitting home. And that's just the way that it is.
Well, it's gonna be a blast. You like anything today in the American League?
I do, Anthony. I'll give you a couple things. Look, when taking these overs and these props, Anthony, I said to you on the show when I did it last week, I'll take Zach Wheeler, I'll take Tariq Skubal, and I'll maybe take Cole Reagans, because I think Skubal's the best pitcher in the AL, Wheeler the best in the NL, or Henry Sale, and to me, Reagans is probably the second best pitcher in the AL. They're the only pitchers I actually feel confident won't be lifted with the way this new school analytics is in baseball, where if you go more than 5 innings or 4 innings, you're done. I took Tariq Skubal over 5.5 strikeouts, Anthony. Listen, he's going against a team that doesn't strike out much at all. I'm going to admit that. Cleveland is bottom 8 in strikeouts, but Skubal's 17-1, his last 18 of that number, 17-1, 29-3. I see no reason why he's not going to get his 6 innings, maybe 7 even, but at least 6. I can't come up with the reason why they would take out the best pitcher in the world and not give him his full run. So I did make that bet, even though it's a tough matchup. Just think it should have been 6.5. And then Cole Reagans, Anthony, over 15.5 outs. Now, that one, again, 27-6 of the year, taking a nice price. It was taking like plus 125. Obviously, against the Yankees, it's always tough, but I say he gets into the 6th inning. He definitely can leave after 5. I get the risk, but I told you, those are the only 3 pitchers I'll take an over on, and they're pitching tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. How about the football game?
Football, listen,
you're all the Saints.
I love Anthony. I really like the Saints. I think the Saints went outright. I really do. I think Love them getting 5.5. Prefer the 5.5, but even just if you wanted to sprinkle something on the money line, no problem with that.
Yeah.
And then I also lean under, by the way. I think it's 43 or 43.5. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And then Kareem Hunt, I say, goes over the 10.5 carries. Anthony, maybe in placing too much weight on the last game where he had 17 carries, but still got completely benched after he fumbled. He's a veteran. Andy obviously trusts him, knows him. I think he's the number one guy there.
And Steele's not really a lead back. He's a fullback.
Steele's without. I don't think Steele's
needed a
involved.
lead back, so I like that. Right. And Andy's going to.
He runs the receiving back that comes in when I'm like the third. But I think he gets his 11 carries. I think he'll end up with, let's call it 13 carries for 46 yards, something like that. But I think he gets over 10.5. I think it's about 1.5, 2 carries too short.
I like it. Good stuff, my brother. Appreciate it.
But Andy's on fire with Versace on campus.
What was Versace down there in the middle of it? The
goalpost
going along down Broadway in Nashville.
I think you're gonna have to change his name to VC. Violations Carson, because I called him during the game. It was 13-0 Vanderbilt. I texted. I'm like, dude, are you having a great time? He's like, I had to study. He goes, I have too much work. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, are you kidding me? I cursed him out.
Oh.
I trust me. Embarrassing at the highest of high levels. And he was
dedication to the craft is beautiful, but all work and no play.
Yeah, no, but that was, Anthony,
Versace
look at the parody.
Dull student.
Oh, Anthony, you know those commercials, those Southwest commercials, where they go, I should have done this, or the Snickers commercial with the stick, when the guy, I should have done this, and I didn't do it. I had in my notes for 3 straight days. 3 straight days. Bet Ashton Kennedy to win the Heisman Trophy. I go, he'll be the favorite after this week. He'll be the favorite after this week. He was like 12-1 odds. I didn't do it. Every day I forgot to do it. He's now like plus 200.
Wow.
He went from 12-1 to 2-1.
Wow.
Missed the boat. Missed the boat.
Right. You got some good stuff. Brain, good stuff. We'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Good luck to everyone out there. Looking big night tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
There he is. That's the Brain. He is the ambassador of the BetParx online casino and sportsbook. All right. So all the stuff that he talks about, you can play right there on your phone. All right. So, he likes Scooble strikeouts, Reagan's to go over. All right. You got all that stuff going on at 408. You got Tigers a slight favorite at Cleveland. KC's an underdog at New York. So you got that going on. And, of course, the Chiefs 5.5 over New Orleans. He likes the Saints in that game, plus the points. He also gave you a little outright piece. So as you're going to go and hang out, watch all these games, hang out, and also during the downtime, you can play the casino games, right? All that stuff, which is a blast, right there on your phone. Live blackjack, craps, roulette, all the hot online slots right there with you. In fact, new users download the BetParx online casino and sportsbook app. You get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParx.com has all the details, so check it out. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Love it, cuz. All right, let's talk about our friends over at Shady Rays. And listen, yesterday, it was a great day for baseball. It's a great day in the city. I was actually down on the shore. I was watching the game on the beach. I had my phone on there, and with the ocean and the skyline of Atlantic City was beautiful. So, with the beautiful day, I need to make sure my eyeballs were protected, and I was styling profile with our friends over at Shady Rays. And our favorite part about it is that we're trying to, stay stylish in 2024, but we're not trying to break the bank. And with Shady Rays, they are able to do that with their large array of selection of sunglasses, and you don't have to break the bank. These are high-quality sunglasses at an affordable price, and that's what we love about them. And also, listen, if I would have lost or happened to drop my glasses in the water, whatever it may be, Shady Rays will release my first pair for free. Nobody's doing it. It's such a great product, but don't take it from me. Take it from over the 300,000 people that have rated Shady Rays 5 stars or more. And you can get your pair today with our promo code. If you head on over to Shady Rays, purchase your first pair, use the promo code PHLY. This will get you 35% off your polarized sunglasses. So what are you waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? It's Red October. That means the sun's not going to go away. So make sure you guys are staying style and profile with our friends over at Shady Rays.
All right, buddy. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference at TrueMark.com/PHLY. In fact, our friend Kelly Body, who's CEO of TrueMark, was at the game yesterday with our PHLY people hanging out. She took her son. They were hanging out, watching the game, freaking out. So it was a good one. All right, let's relive it. Okay, let's take this moment. And it was an instant classic, right? It really was. It was one of those games that we'll talk about 20 years from now. So let's relive every moment we can with it in our playback. Now, Andrew did a great job putting this all together. You ready, buddy?
I'm ready.
Let's relive it. Here you go. This is the scene, 10th scene before game 2. Remember, happens after game 1 where they blow the Wheeler outing. So this is it before game 2. Fans trying to will it on.
Boys are having a great time, and so are these folks trying to will their Phillies to a win in game 2. This is the 2024 National League Division Series on FS1, presented by Booking.com.
There you go. Look at that crowd.
The Mets were the lone road team in game 1s across the majors and the division series to take the...
Yeah, you got to put bicep in that, boy.
Well, one of the things that really stood out, though, is weird. The 4:08 start time is a weird start time. It's not a height of energy of the day. 4 o'clock is usually when
time.
Yeah,
sleepy.
Yeah, and I think you had shadows in play. Yeah. It was just a weird kind of start time.
And most importantly, on game 2, no Nick Sirianni in the building.
Oh, my God.
No mush.
You sure he wasn't in there?
He was not there yesterday.
All right. So the Phillies, early, Sanchez, little shaky, right? Mets getting good at bats.
Yeah.
The Phillies flashing some leather. Here you go. Here's Stott.
Martinez reaches out, sends it into our center, and what a play by Bryson Stott, lunging for the out.
The run saver there.
That was beautiful.
What a play.
And then the legend, right, of the hour, the man, the true MVP superstar, who I can't believe that Bryce Harper just started playing first base.
He's like a Gold Glove first baseman.
My man Nicky from Collegeville says if that was Reese Hoskins, the score would have been 7-0. And we love Reese, but take a look at Bryce. His
in the
first of a
innings,
great
here's
play.
Alvarez on the ground towards first, diving stop by Harper, and the defense
He launches
saves
his
the
ball to
inning
the
for
upper deck.
Philadelphia.
The upper level, they said, when he threw it.
Dude, not for nothing.
Super fired
First
up.
Look at that
it
play.
was
Look at this play.
And
Oh,
then it
my
was
God. He
Harper,
goes
who
to his
started
left.
141
That ball's down
games
the
at
line.
first and ended up being one of the top
It
defensive
should have
first
been an
basemen
early
in the
run
league.
for the Mets.
Yep.
So many
That's
clutch
great
plays, man.
leather. Great leather. All right, then let's go to the third.
Leatherman.
Yeah. And this man, he is nasty. So Vientos, the Mets third baseman, young player, has had a great season, and this is the first one.
In a home run. Just their second playoff home run so far. The Alonso blast in game 3 in Milwaukee, and now this from Vientos off Sanchez. In a home run.
Boom.
Just their
And Sanchez didn't really lose his composure. I mean, he gave up a hit, but then he struck out 2 after that.
Scary, though. I mean, that was one because what I don't know about you guys, but all I kept thinking about is, damn, man, the lead, right? Like it was like you didn't want to fall behind.
Right.
No, falling behind felt like a death knell.
And you felt worse because of what happened the day before.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was that's the thing you worried about. Like the way the bats were going, you were like, oh my God, please no.
Yeah.
And then
Dude, I have this stat where it was Sanchez had thrown 893 changeups to right-handed batters before giving up a home run. 893 changeups before he gave that one up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, to a right-handed bat.
Oh my God. This was the Castellanos moment where he gets the Bronx cheer after spit. Remember, he lunges, swings and misses, right? And then he lays off a breaking pitch, and there's the Bronx cheer.
To me, it's just a two-seamer.
There's different ways to handle that, different ways to hold the ball even that we can show later. But
fans groaning.
When you're trying to work the movement at the top, you just move your fingers over on the ball a little bit, get a little bit more of the horizontal, get underneath it just a hair, not too much.
That time Castellanos lays off, and you hear almost a sarcastic cheer. The crowd was booing Castellanos after he waved two breaking balls out of the zone.
We're the
and then
best.
after he takes that one in the dirt, the crowd kind of sarcastically gets behind him and is now re-engaged.
That's what I talked about.
I love the lip readers. The lip readers that are deployed, right?
Home, it's a different thing.
Oh, my God.
Castellanos on another breaking ball roll.
Philly fans appear to be getting impatient with Nick Castellanos. Is the tweet.
I mean, we expect, right? Like,
we're tense.
It's tense moment, and you know that's a weakness. But then, listen, here's Harper. This is a big play because Nimmo makes it, woof, right? He rips it, and look at the glove. Let's go to Bryce again.
Nimmo hits it to Harper. Another sparkling defensive play.
Are you kidding me?
All reaction.
He's so calm with it.
Yeah.
Just another day.
He's amazing.
Another key play at first base by Harper.
The runner
To end
on
the
him,
top of the
all
fifth.
over
We're
him,
halfway
draped
through
on
game
him.
two.
I mean,
Mets
it's
lead Philadelphia 2-0.
He's the greatest. So then, of course, Alonso hits the home run off of Ruiz, which I didn't like.
Yeah,
it's
Ruiz
3-0.
comes in the game. My mom says, "Do you like this guy, Ruiz?"
Mom's right.
No, I don't.
Mom's right.
Mom
I
had
don't
the
know why
feeling, man.
he's in here.
I don't understand it either. I don't think that's the one move. Listen, everything else is debatable, right?
Yeah.
But you can't have Ruiz in the game. You want to stay with Sanchez? All right. You didn't want to lift him because you go third time around the order. It's a little shaky. Okay. They go Kirkering. Anything but Ruiz.
And I guess part of the Sanchez too, they were saying he was given way more pop-ups than normal, so he was missing high.
Yeah.
So that was a concern too with the third time around.
Listen, okay, I understand that. Like, you don't want to bring him back out because of that. Fine. But you just can't go Ruiz in a game where your future is on the line.
Tim M says the bar he was at went nuts when Ruiz came in.
Yeah, man. Look, that's why these fans are the greatest, man. They know everything. They're so plugged into this thing.
They are, man.
It's beautiful. But let's go. It's 2 outs, right? It's the bottom of the 6th, right? Everything is up. Everybody's up tight. Turner had gotten a hit. And here he is. The one, the only, the great Bryce Harper.
Fastball punch to the air. Deep center field. Back it goes. And Bryce Harper brings life to Philadelphia. It's 3-2.
He's the best, man.
He is.
He's the greatest.
And at that moment, the belief came back.
He really is. He's the greatest. He is I can't go on. I lose adjectives.
There aren't enough. It's just
he's incredible. Remember, 30 days power outage, 30 games. 30 games. And everybody, what's wrong with Bryce? No power. Still hitting line drives. That one he just absolutely crushed in dead center field. Beautiful hitting. I don't know why you give him a fastball, but in that spot.
And that was the fastest pitch he had thrown all day. 99, I think he hit there.
Murder that.
Yeah, he launched it.
And then, the crowd's going nuts. And you could see that he's trying to get him with a get me over fastball to start the count. And Nick, he's hacking, man.
Make a mistake to Harper. Severino did, and that started the rally.
Just right down the middle. And then
Dude,
this
Nick
one is
has dropped the bat immediately. Just looks
right away. And the atmosphere, the mood in this stadium on the swing by Harper completely
I love Nick coming in and Bryce, the first one to greet him, right? Yeah. It was just awesome, man.
And even Bryce, after he hit the home run, he's off the field screaming at the fans like, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, man. All right, it's 3-3. This is where it gets. And then
this guy.
Kirkering comes up and Nimmo. I hate the Nimmo.
Dude.
High leverage count. Nimmo launches it towards right. Castellanos twisting around, turning around, watches it go. And Brandon Nimmo responds.
This is where
and the Mets regain the lead.
This is where he has some work with JT, right?
In the 7th.
Yeah.
They just keep doing it, AJ. They keep coming.
He is a good, slightly average player. He irritates the hell out of
Oh, I know. I know.
This is a good ball player.
Chatting with JT Real Muto on the way to the plate.
Where's Sanchez?
I want to say something like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't understand where that meant. Now, it looked like he was also yapping at the dugout, right?
Yes.
So he starts saying, "Where's Sanchez?" But I'm trying to figure out what the meaning of that meant was, because Sanchez doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to start yapping with Nimmo.
no, he seems very quiet and subdued.
So I'm curious. You know, is it because they lifted Sanchez?
Yeah, I think that
and he was like, "Where's Sanchez?" You know, I don't know, something like that.
Starter thing.
But he is annoying to Nimmo.
Yeah. He is.
He is annoying. All right, let's get out. Let's get to the rally. All right, and let's go to the Stott triple. This triple was incredible, right? Because Casty and Harper once again get things going. Right, it's first and third. And here is Lestat.
Lestat.
He's a vampire himself too, right? Lestat.
Lestat is a vampire.
Yeah. We need him to be a vampire.
Struggling all year long, right?
Yeah.
And here he is.
In the right field, fair ball. This game is tied. Harper is in. Castellanos getting the sign to come on. He will score. Philadelphia leads. Bryson Stott has put the Phillies on top.
What a great at bat, man.
I'll be honest, I did not expect him to come up big there, but what a
And that's like vintage Stott, which we saw. Like people used to think he was like going to win a batting title. He would give you such great at bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, that's a big deal, man. Like he gave you some great ABs. We remember the Braves against Strider, fouling off pitches, and then speeding up his bat. Like the good thing about him is he speeds up his bat, like where you can yank it. He even gets guys that throw hard. He was sitting on a break. He got that breaking pitch, and his bat was sped up, and he was able to yank that breaking pitch. He was sitting breaking ball. And yanked it down the line.
If he starts getting into a groove, that'd be really nice.
Oh my God. You kidding me? All right. They add the run, the tack on run with the bobble. This was the bobble. JP, just get on base. Put the ball in play. That's what you need. Get that run home.
1-2 pitch. A tapper. Third baseman Vientos cannot make the play, and the run scores. 6-4 Philadelphia.
Yep.
He wasn't going to get him anyway.
No.
And that proved to be a huge run. Huge run. Right?
Absolutely.
To get up 6-4. Yeah, with less than 2 outs. There's 1 out in the inning. Stott's on third. You got to put the ball in play. JT, good for just putting the ball in play. You're able to get the run home.
But don't you think you saw it in their eye, his eye there after he dropped the ball? Like it just looks like he's not confident there. Like something's going south on us. This is turning sour.
The Mets?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
I can read.
Defensively, they don't look like a good
You
team.
see their souls.
Well, they're not. They're
Defensively, they're very poor.
I mean, they just
Well,
got some
they're
good
not poor,
pitching so
but-
far in the playoffs.
I mean, look, listen, they're raking right now. Like they're
And that's
hot, and they scored 20 runs in the last 8th and 9th inning in
Yeah.
the last 7 games. It means you're pulling out. They're on paper again. Their bullpen's not good, and
Fraser, you wearing blue and orange sneakers, like Met color sneakers?
Oh,
No, I'm not.
well, leave him alone. He's
They're
doing a
blue.
good job. He's fine.
They're like blue and like pinkish red.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Leave him alone. He's doing a good job.
I would never wear Mets
No, he's
stuff.
not.
Come
He
on,
would
man.
never.
Got a Phillies hat on.
All right. Right away, VG. All right.
Violations, Greg.
He's got the eagle eye. Don't miss the trick. All right. Let's go to it's 6-4, right? And Strom's in, and again, I thought Estevez after throwing 8 pitches was probably the better choice.
Bring him back.
I agree.
Whether you're afraid of Winker on the pinch hitter with Bader, or you wanted Lindor to hit right-handed, I don't know. But first of all, I don't know how he hits his pitch. But
No.
this is Strom.
Let's find out. 3-2 pitch. Here's a fastball, hit in the air, deep left field, ranging back is
thing
Hayes,
is just
at
floating.
the wall, Mark Vientos has done it again, and the Mets have done it again. It's 6-6 in the ninth.
You're right. I don't know how he got that over, man. That was a high pitch.
I know. Dude, I don't know how he hit that ball out.
I mean, how much credence you giving to this layoff with the relievers?
I don't know, dude. I mean, listen,
you've been around baseball forever.
Both Hoffman and Strom were lights out all-stars, right?
Exactly.
Like they deserve.
Yeah.
But they both kind of came down to earth a little bit in the second part of the season, which is not uncommon for relievers. I do think layoffs matter. I do. I think ball players. I hate the format, and I don't want to cry about game 1 they didn't hit because of the layoff, because I know the Yankees hit and I know the Dodgers hit and the Indians hit, right? Yep. So it goes against it, but it still matters, man. Like that layoff stuff's real. So I give some credence to that. In that spot, I just wouldn't have had Strom in there. I just, again, I understand I don't think he managed a bad game. The only thing I thought Topper, the mistake was Ruiz. That really was it. Other than that, I mean, you can make arguments on a lot of different ways.
I agree with you. I mean, layoff is tough, and obviously these teams got to figure out how to manage that layoff. But I mean, also it hurts that you go up against this Mets team that's starting to feel themselves as well.
Yeah,
that's part of it as well.
All right, let's go to the ninth. All right. Actually, this is the ninth. He hits the 2-run. Vientos hits the 2-run homer, and then let's go to the next play, because it could have gotten away from the Phillies right here. But Casty makes another one of those sliding web gems.
He loves him.
We're on for Philly. Alonso flares one into right. Castellanos coming on, and he dives and makes the catch.
Big play, man.
A sliding grab by Castellanos.
How does he make so many of those?
Send this to the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, that is amazing. And you see the slowdown, he times it perfectly. His glove's next to him. Like he's not laying out.
No.
He slides to the side.
Yes.
Yeah. It's wild.
He never lays out. He's always cool looking. Like, I'll just glide in here, grab
Once October hits, he's got that golden glove, man.
It's true, man. It's pretty amazing. All right, so now it's 2 outs. Once again, 2 outs. And let's give some flowers to Turner. Because again, Turner gets on base to set up everything. He set up the game, the 2-run homer by Bryce in the 6th. He means everything, because when you get on here, now you're forced to pitch to Bryce, right? Because you're looking at it, you're going, it's a 6-6 game. What do? Right? So they were caught behind it. You saw what happened, right? It was, they're trying they're pitching around him, and ultimately they walk him. But do you remember the shot that Bryce hits that we think the game's over?
Yeah.
Look how close this was.
The 1-0. Harper down the right field line. Towards the corner. It is a foul ball.
Look how close. This thing was 2 feet.
Inches away, potentially, from ending the game. Instead, it's a strike, and it's 1-1.
Look.
Dude.
I mean, there's the chalk.
My goodness gracious.
Oh, my God. Look at that ball.
I was worried he'd be a little amped up after that.
Yeah.
But no, man. He came through and gave you a good at-bat.
Well, again, he spit on that 3-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Right? Which I love that baseball phrase.
When
you look at a ball and you look at a pitch and they call it spitting on it, I love it. It's my favorite. And he does that. And so now all of a sudden, again, you got 2 on, the winning run at second, and here he is, man. The man of the whole season's been the story of Nick, and he comes through again.
Into left field, down the line, it's It's a fair ball, and the Phillies have tied the series. Back to Queens, one apiece. Castellanos, the hero.
I know you loved after this, cuz.
The best. I mean, it was the best. Oh, man. The celebration's the greatest. Here they go. Storming the field.
They were hitting
Heavyweight
pitches
flight.
that weren't executed. When pitchers made mistakes, both sides
Look at this.
made the pitcher pay for it.
The mob and Nick.
Unbelievable game. One of the best games I've ever seen.
This was an instant classic between two division rivals.
It was.
In just their second.
Your high hopes in the
There
background.
was an instant classic. It was incredible. And then finally, this is the beautiful piece of it. Yes, JP, my favorite part of it, thinking about the boys in your own. Here's Nick and Liam, right? Nick and Liam hugging. Oh, my God. Celebrating with his boy after he just wins the game. How beautiful is that? Unbutton his shirt, the whole thing. It's the greatest, man. It's beautiful. Liam Castellanos. Look at that face.
Does Liam have Roberto Clemente hat on with that 21?
Oh, that's beautiful. Anyway, that is your playback, your instant as we relive that classic. That was awesome. Great job, Andrew, putting this thing together.
Done.
You did a great job, dude. Man, that was sensational. What a game. And especially after the heels of game one, where it was devastating. I couldn't sleep Saturday night. I was miserable all day. It was just mad. And in the first 5 2/3 innings was a trip to the dentist.
Oh, man.
It was horrible.
That's a great way
the
to put
first 5 2/3 innings, and you're just sitting there and you're waiting for something to happen, one after another.
This playoff OPS, it's Gehrig, Ruth, Harper. That's 1, 2, and 3, the highest all time in postseason.
Amazing.
Gehrig, Ruth, Bryce Harper.
Amazing stuff.
And he did that in 51 games. They're 34 and 41. He's kept this up at 51 games.
Right? Oh, my God. It's just been tremendous. Absolutely
Hemorrhoid George Brett, number 4.
Hemorrhoid. You don't know that story, do you? George Brett, the great Royals, and the Phillies played the Royals in 80 to win the World Series. George Brett was an all-star third baseman.
He was like their best player.
He came down with a case of hemorrhoids.
I don't know.
And people, like, he got mocked. How about it?
Yeah.
For the hemorrhoids.
Yeah. They're tough. I mean, on Saturday night, they were trying to get when Pete Alonso came up, they were doing hair plugs.
Oh, horrible. Did they have the hemorrhoid pillows with them in the crowd? They show them,
Sit on a donut pillow.
Sit on the donut.
Dude, a donut pillow.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Amazing stuff. All right, couple things. And we got to look. It's Monday. All right. Well, bye week over now. We got Browns we're in town after the bye. We got to look at football and what transpired in the league, including the scary Commanders. Ooh. Man. All right, JP though. What are we talking about, baby?
We're talking about our friends over at Empire Today. Listen, we love Bryce Harper and some of those heroics he's been doing, but we also love the heroics that our friends at Empire Today have been doing. Because listen, a lot of people, and me included, we need some new floorings, right? We have a lot of floorings that are 20, 30, 40 years old, and so it is time to change those up. But you need a high quality flooring. That's where Empire Today comes into play. And I love them because I can trust them, all right? And I can trust them that they're going to put something good into my household. Because listen, they have competitors and they know people are going to try to copy them. But Empire Today are not going to steer you in the wrong way. They're only going to put something in your house that they would put in their own house. And that's something that I can trust. And that's something you can trust there as well. So of course, listen, stop staring at those ugly flooring, all right? That ugly carpet that you've had since the 90s, it's time to change that. So today, what you're going to do is you're going to schedule your free in-home estimate, all right? And all of our listeners right now can receive up to a $350 off discount. Ladies and gentlemen, $350, that's a lot, all right? So when you use the promo code PHLY, you can receive some of those discounts. Just keep in mind that restrictions do apply. But go head on over to empiretoday.com/PHLY. That's empiretoday.com/PHLY. So stop waiting. Get your new floors in with our friends over at Empire
Today. There you go, buddy. Empire Today. Yes. Let's also talk about Parks Casino. Street Road, Ben Salem, the Pennsylvania's #1 casino by far. It's just the mecca of entertainment. We tell you about the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Nothing like the actual brick and mortar and the excitement that happens at Parks Casino. Bunch of things. Listen, they have all the times we talk about the Park Steakhouse. We have the Noodle House, right? Like you got the beer garden. So great dining experiences. They have the Excite Center, which is tremendous. It's one of the many things that we love about Parks Casino. 1,500-seat venue inside the property that gives you the best comedy, give you the best musical acts. It's perfect, man. It's a great, like, intimate kind of setting for you. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Street Road exit off at 95 in the PA Turnpike. Let me tell you about some of the headliners about to hit. October 24th, TLC.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I love it. November 1st, Invincible, a tribute to Michael Jackson.
Nice. I thought they were going to say Vince Papale. I saw him this weekend.
November 16th, Bret Michaels.
Yo, they played him on one of the breaks. They did a little Poison. Nothing but a good time. Yeah, yesterday during the broadcast.
November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. December 6th, the Queen, Patti LaBelle. December 13th, the podcast Are You Garbage, which is a tribute to Mets fans, I think. That's December 13th. December 14th, comedian Eric D'Alessandro. Parks Casino, this is how you win. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Well, it was a football weekend. You might not know it, but there was football, right? Because we got all caught up in Red October. And wild because the Commanders, oh my. Jaden Daniels, talk a lot about Jaden Daniels. That Browns defense is legitimate, and he had his way. And finally, they collapsed. I mean, their offense is wretched. Deshaun Watson is unplayable, and I wonder if they're going to make a change before Sunday when the Browns come here. But that defense just can't hold up. Jaden Daniels in Washington, man, they look for real. He looked terrific. Let's talk about all the football. Joining us, our resident leatherhead, my man out of the film study. He looks like a vampire because he's all about the film study. He's our buddy, Fran Duffy. Franny!
What's up, fellas? How's it going? Look, obviously, I got caught up in Red October this weekend, too. I made sure to watch both of those games, but a lot of football as well.
I'm proud of you. I know you're a sportsman, so I knew you'd find a way to squeeze in the Phillies.
Yeah, look, we had to take it in, and it's great because my son gets all into like the playoff atmosphere. So it was great being able to take in both of those games this weekend.
It's fantastic. All right, well, let's get to some of the games that happened yesterday. Of course, the headliner is Browns and Washington, right? Because the Eagles will play Cleveland this coming week, and we saw Jaden Daniels. I can't believe it. He's put up 30 again. 34 yesterday on a Jim Schwartz defense. That's no joke.
Yeah, going in, I picked the Browns to win that game, mainly because I thought, all right, maybe we'll get a little bit of regression here from the Washington offense. Jim Schwartz, they did a graphic on the broadcast yesterday. The last time he lost to a rookie quarterback was Dak Prescott back in 2016 when he was here in Philly, his first year with the Eagles. And so I kind of thought, all right, go in. This defense will do some damage here. Myles Garrett. But no, you mentioned it. Jaden Daniels made the plays that were out there to be made. I just think right now, I mean, this Browns team just looks so deflated because of how inept this offense is with Deshaun Watson at the helm. Kevin Stefanski came out last night or yesterday after the game and said, no, they're not making a change at quarterback. I do wonder at what point that is going to happen because it just feels like it's a when and not an if. If you're an Eagles fan, you're hoping they at least stave that off for one more week. But this team is tough to watch right now.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I thought it would come this week. I thought that would be the breaking point. I really did, and they play Winston. He said that. I'm shocked. Like I don't know how. Like that defense. I don't know how you play defense with that quarterback because like they played well. The first half things got out of hand in the second half because they were just on the field so long.
And that's the thing, is that it's not just like Watson is playing terrible. I mean, it's really, really bad. It's tough to watch. But then also you've got the offensive line. They led the NFL in terms of total offensive line combinations coming into this game because of all the injuries they've had up front, and the protection has been terrible. Then they got drops left and right. They can't run the ball right now. You don't have Nick Chubb. We'll see if he was back at practice last week, coming off that knee injury from last fall. We'll see if he's going to go here for this game against the Eagles. That's something to watch, certainly. But when you look at this offense, I mean, they just cannot move the ball with any kind of consistency. They have not scored 20 points in the game this season. They come out and they move the ball in the opening drive. They scored points on every opening drive this year. Coming into this one, they get into plus territory, and then they fail on fourth down here in this game against Washington. But they just, once you get into the meat of the game, I mean, run game, pass game, it's all off the table for this Browns offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Now we'll see if Chubb is back. I mean, there's a chance that he could play on Sunday. Maybe that's what Stefanski is waiting for, where it's like, let's see if he has Chubb back with a real running back. Maybe it looks different.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big thing is that they've kind of changed their identity offensively, because in previous years and previous iterations of this offense, they were a lot of heavy tight end. You get a fullback out there. They lean into the offensive line. They lean into the run game. But, they bring in Ken Dorsey to be the offensive coordinator this year. They want to lean into what Deshaun Watson has historically done well, and that's play from a more spread formations, 3 receiver sets. Let's spread everything out. That's the way that they play. But Watson has been so bad. How is that going to mesh with Nick Chubb? Because Nick Chubb has been really good with some of those heavy personnel sets, quarterback under center, turn around, hand him the football. I don't know that those two aspects are going to mesh either. Now, he was still running well before the injury last year, Nick Chubb, even though he's getting a little bit up there. What is he going to look like coming off the injury?
Yeah.
That'll be a big talking point if he is cleared to go here for this game against the Eagles.
It was interesting because they didn't re-sign Flacco because they didn't want all the noise.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I know, Kevin, I know that for a fact. Like they were like, we can't have Joe back because they knew the fans would be calling for Flacco. And I mean that situation is almost untenable. Like you gotta, after this year, you gotta blow him up. Like he just can't play.
Yeah, and then it was even happening this summer because Jameis was getting all this love during the summer, and he was mic'd up, and you see him hyping up the offense and hyping up the team before preseason games, and even that was too much. Where we're like, oh, they got to trade Jameis going into the final cutdowns because they just didn't want that heat behind Deshaun Watson. But I mean, right now it's bad, and it's one of those scenarios too, Anthony, where you're watching on Sundays and it's like, oh man, this looks terrible, and then you watch on film and it looks worse. It's really, really bad. You just go through every drive, and there's just plays where he turns down throws, he misses plays, and then again, you factor in all the other issues they're having. This offense, if the Eagles' defense looks bad against this offense, major red flags.
Oh yeah.
Huff better get home.
Yeah.
7 sacks yesterday with Deshaun.
Yeah.
And it was 8 the week before. It was 8 against the Giants. I mean, it's bad right now in Cleveland.
It really is. All right, I got to ask you on the flip side, the Commanders sitting at 4-1. All right, here's who they got coming up. Now they got a tough test at Baltimore.
Yep.
Then they're home Panthers, home Bears, at the Giants, home Steelers, and then here November 14th on a short week, which really could be for the division lead.
Yeah, and what I'm going to be very interested to see how they react to this matchup this week against Baltimore, because to me, when I look at this Washington team and this defensive front, Dan Quinn, the way that he played in Dallas was, hey, we're going to play with a lot of sub package and we're going to try and get after teams with our pass rush. Well, that led them susceptible to against opposing running games, and teams were able to run on them. With the talent that Washington has at defensive tackle, that hasn't been as big of an issue for them, but I still look at this group up front and I say, all right, I want to see a team that wants to come out and play smash mouth. How are they going to react? I do think that Baltimore is a team that will certainly test that. And so I do want to see this test for this Washington front. This defense, I think you can get after them on the back end. And so that's going to be the big thing. I think that you want to try and get Jaden Daniels certainly off his rhythm. It didn't happen this week against Cleveland, and he said he felt very, very comfortable. I think you want to try and make him feel as uncomfortable as possible. Is this Baltimore defense going to be able to do that with mixing up all the things that they've done with their disguises on the back end? I think this will be a big test, certainly. We'll know a lot more about this Washington team a week from now.
Yeah, and listen, their defense is still a work in progress. I mean, let's not get it twisted. I mean, you played a horrible offense in Cleveland that could not expose it. That said, their schedule lines up. Like, you could lose this week, but then you could beat Carolina, you could beat Pittsburgh, Chicago, all winnable games until you face the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, they have that last place schedule working in their favor, and so as you were going through those games, I'm like counting on my fingers. I'm like, all right, that sounds like a win. That sounds like it's a win. That's a winnable game, right? You hope if you're an Eagles fan, maybe Chicago, maybe they figured some things out. They looked pretty good offensively yesterday, and that defense I think is better than people give them credit for. Hopefully Pittsburgh, that defense I think will start to give Washington some trouble too. So there might be some games where they can trip up there, but this team is certainly capable of going on a run. I mean, Jaden Daniels, and it's not just he's running around and making plays. I mean, he's making big-time throws from the pocket as well. He's attacking all levels of the field. I think early on he was still trying to find his way in terms of being able to operate from the pocket, but he seems to have shaken off those opening jitters very quickly.
All right, let's go rapid fire, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're going to go each game and give you your thoughts. Let's start in England, right? The morning, I love the English. I love the London games. I love waking up. Wakey. Vikings remain undefeated. The Vikes, oh my God, 5-0 as they Rodgers goes down, comes back in. He looked beat up. Vikings, the truth.
Yeah, I mean that defense is legitimate. I do think though,
Flores, man,
the Vikings a breath of hot air is going to set. They're like a tinderbox, like waiting to blow. Like just like the wrong temperature rise, and that thing is going to light up in flames. That just feels like that's ready to combust. But I think Minnesota right now, especially if Aaron Jones is healthy, I think that offense you saw when Aaron Jones left the game yesterday, that they struggled to move the ball a little bit. But that defense, they're going to give everybody problems all year.
Van Ginkel, second touchdown.
I know.
Six.
Brian Flores is a great defensive coach.
Yes,
he's a great defensive coach.
No question.
Ravens, man, this will cook the Bengals. Man, that's a tough loss. You're Cincinnati. Their defense is horrendous. And Baltimore up and down the field in overtime, 41-38.
Yeah, I was flipping back and forth between that game and the Washington-Cleveland game yesterday, and both quarterbacks were dealing. And if you're Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, like that offense was humming yesterday against a good Baltimore defense. They were doing everything right. Everything you would want to see from that passing game looked great. But that defense just can't keep up right now, and they were doing everything they could to stop the Baltimore run game, but then the secondary couldn't hold up. And so I think when you look at it, that's going to be an offensive-driven football team. The question now becomes: are they in too deep of a hole to be able to try and go on a postseason run?
Jaguars saved Dougie's job for now. That would not be good if they lost that one.
Yeah, with Trevor Lawrence, I mean, the big thing, they got the ball out of his hands fast in this game against Indy. Obviously, Indy, they're down Jonathan Taylor, they're down Anthony Richardson.
My man Trey Sermon, who I always liked, going back to Ohio State.
Flacco coming through too, but they gave him everything they could handle. Jacksonville, that was a much needed win. I think if they lose that game, things not looking good, certainly for that staff.
Yeah, I got to tell you, their defense is horrible. Jacksonville. Yeah.
They're on their third defensive coordinator in 3 years. They can't settle in on what they want to be defensively.
I know. I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of Doug, man. Like you're the coach. You gotta. And that was a problem here about replacing guys, right? Like, that was one of the issues. The bone of contention by the Eagles front office was like, you're not giving me somebody that could come in and be your coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, they're searching for what their identity is. I know that the run game has been inconsistent. They leaned into the second-year back Tank Bigsby yesterday, and he looked good. So we'll see if he can give them a little bit of spark in the run game.
All right, let's skip over Dolphins, Patriots. It doesn't mean anything. Let's go to this is an interesting game. It was Texans and Bills. Man, Nico Collins gets hurt, right? Who just is a flat-out stud. Nico's just a stud. They outlast the Bills now. The Bills 2 tough games in a row.
Yeah, I think when you look at Houston right now, this is a team where if you look at the numbers, you say, all right, like they feel like they're kind of coming back to earth a little bit. You know, the point differential hasn't been great. They've gotten some lucky bounces in certain spots, but you certainly have a lot of faith in C.J. Stroud. You have a lot of faith in Nico Collins when healthy. He left the game, like you said, with that hamstring injury that he was nursing coming into the week, but he has that big play touchdown. He's the leading receiver in the NFL right now. I think when you look at this past game, you feel really good. They have not been able to run the ball effectively since Joe Mixon got hurt after that Week 1 game where he went off. So I think they're trying to hope that Mixon can get back healthy. They're being a little bit slow and judicious with getting him back into the lineup. Defensively, they're trying all kinds of things. I mean, they've got some players on that back end, but I think they're trying to find their identity defensively right now as well. And then in Buffalo, like you mentioned, I mean, a lot of questions about that fourth quarter, how that was held. Sean McDermott didn't speak with the media for it was 90 minutes after the game yesterday. So they're trying to figure some things out. Offensively, they just don't have enough speed right now. Josh Allen has had a weird tough stretch.
Well, Shakur, they miss him.
Yeah. I think that he's just kind of one of those quarterbacks, right, where you're going to have these kind of moments where he could put that Superman cape on and carry the entire group. But if there's not enough talent around him, right, those kind of games are going to show up.
You need an outside guy. You need one outside guy that can stretch the field just to kind of give you space on the field.
Yeah, and that's because they've shown that they can run the ball. They've had success on the ground this year, so they've got that element. But that ability to really make teams play outside of that 15-yard radius hasn't been present yet.
How about you mentioned the Bears? They got healthy. They looked better against Carolina yesterday.
Yep.
What do you think of Caleb?
Caleb's looked good, especially these last couple of weeks. Yeah. I mean, they've thrown a lot at him from a mental standpoint and basically said, all right, rookie, you're going to run the show for us. And so you had those first couple of weeks where it didn't always look great, but I think you're starting to see it pay dividends. There were some really impressive things that I'm actually excited to go back and watch the film on later this week, just so some kind of the examples of him commanding the game and showing that he's in control, throwing some hot routes and giving hand signals to receivers and letting them do their work. So I think when you look at Caleb Williams, there's a lot to be excited about. It doesn't seem like he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It seems like Jaden Daniels kind of has that in the bag if he stays healthy, but Williams has not looked bad so far for Chicago.
All right, Bo Nix looks good against the Raiders, and that Sean Payton, man, he could coach.
How do they have 3 wins?
Yeah, we kind of forgotten. Sean Payton, he's been around the league for a little bit. I think they're getting good play defensively right now. They're blitzing the hell out of everybody. And then they've got Surtain on the back end. He had a 100-yard pick six yesterday. He's outstanding. But I think when you look at this run game, you look at this defense, they're going to try and shorten games on you. The Raiders, it's just a mess. It's just a mess right now. You have the Devontae Adams debacle going on, the weird coaching decisions. They can't decide who the quarterback is. You give Minshew all this money, but then you have a quarterback competition, and then you bench them 2 weeks in a row. It's just they're kind of a mess right now on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think that's where AP, the experience of Antonio Pierce, the inexperience, kind of shows itself. Man, how about Kyler Murray rallying the Cardinals to victory in San Francisco?
Yeah, look, I think when you look at Arizona, they've been a plucky team so far. I think that they can do some things defensively, schematically, where random weeks they could throw this oddball game plan at you and find ways to get stops. Offensively, they want to play heavy personnel and they want to be able to get the ground game going with James Conner, and then Kyler Murray is going to make a couple of those plays a game, certainly with Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's another game where I didn't get as much of it just because of the Phils, but I'm excited to go back and watch. Certainly went through and watch the condensed game and watch some highlights, but I'm excited to see what that game plan looked like for Arizona. San Francisco, these injuries are just catching up to them on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Speaking of injuries, the decimated Rams go down to the Packers, and Tucker Kraft is the weapon of choice by Jordan Love. This shows you that the tight end, how important it is in Green Bay. They're going to get Musgrave back. Musgrave is a key to that offense.
Yeah, Musgrave, he's like your move guy. We want to get him down the seam. He's got great speed, but I loved Tucker Kraft. I liked Kraft more than Musgrave when he was coming out.
Really?
And to me, because Kraft is a true two-way guy.
He's a good blocker, right? Musgrave is just a receiver. I'm with
never
you.
puts the ball on the ground, and then he's a freaking bulldozer with the ball in his hands. We saw that on the one touchdown yesterday, the way he runs through contact. Right. I love Kraft and his fit in that offense.
You know why you love him? Because you're a leatherhead.
Yeah, that's right. And he's a leatherhead. That's exactly how he plays the game.
I love that about you. Let's go to 2 division rivals. So Giants, go figure this, right? Giants on the road take out Seattle and do so with a return for it to block field goal return for a touchdown to seal it. Like, this league is wild. The late games, you had Arizona win on the road, the Packers win on the road, the Giants win on the road. Insane.
So every year there are those teams, right, where the week after you play this team, you usually fall off a little bit. And this year, that's the Detroit Lions. The week after teams play the Lions, you can tell there was a tough, hard-fought game.
Used to be the Ravens.
Yes, the Ravens. The Eagles have been one of those teams in the past. We've seen San Francisco, right? When you go up against that physical team, they beat you up on both sides, and you just have a down week the week after. I thought, hey, the Lions, they just beat up on Seattle the week before on Monday Night Football. But I thought, look, it's the Giants going out west. It was a big line. It was 6.5 going into that game. I said, you know what? It's Seattle. They're going to handle business. The Giants aren't going to have Malik Neighbors in this game. I feel like Seattle's going to come back. Sure enough, this Detroit Lions, the hangover continues, and the Giants go out. Daniel Jones carves them up without having Malik Neighbors in the lineup. That's a tough loss if you're Seattle.
That's a great point that you made about the week after. I'm a big believer in the week after.
Yep.
And the Lions.
It was a recurring thing. It pops up the first couple weeks, and you're like, all right, like I want to track this and see if it keeps. Yeah. But it has kept going. Like Arizona, you mentioned Arizona. They had that great win early on against the Rams, and you're like, oh, this team might have something. Then they get their doors blown off after they play the Lions, and it's like, man, like I just don't know. And then they come back and they get a win over San Francisco. It's a recurring theme here with the Lions. We'll see.
All right, after the lightning and the storm passes through Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Wow. Cowboys somehow pull that out into the night.
Yeah, Pittsburgh doing the Eagles no favors. They wanted to give that game away, Dallas. Dak Prescott, he put it in a handbasket there for Pittsburgh. The Steelers unable to capitalize on that. But, I honestly don't have a ton of faith in the Cowboys at this point. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, Anthony, right? You look at the pass catchers, there's not a lot there beyond CeeDee Lamb. And even, with Ferguson. Ferguson's a solid player, but he's not a guy that you're like up late at night if you're a defensive coordinator. But that's your number 2 option in the pass game. You're not scared of this run game. The offensive line is mediocre, and they've been inconsistent. Defensively, not what they've been. Certainly,
they got manhandled last night. That O-line got manhandled last night, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at the group. There's just not a ton outside of Dak being Dak, and he's a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. So he's not going to be able to carry this show all by himself. I just don't think that I don't think that team has staying power for this year.
I see the same thing. See exactly the way you do. Well, we'll see this week. Birds back after the bye. They have a perfect opponent to kind of get well.
Yeah, look, this again, going back to the beginning, this Cleveland offense has been dreadful this year. So if they stay status quo and Deshaun Watson is in a quarterback, I think you go in, you mix things up, you try and get him rattled early. That should not be hard given the way things have gone. You go in and you handle business. This should be a nice get-right win here for the Eagles this week.
All right, I love it. Franny, great stuff as always, my brother. All right.
Appreciate
Enjoy
you guys.
the film room. Get some sun.
That's right. We got a couple days here. I'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy. There he is, our leatherhead, Fran Duffy. As we wrap this thing up, man, we need a breath. After Saturday and Sunday, you need a break because tomorrow it's back on, man. And you want to talk, I was texting with our buddy Kevin Nagandi, and Kevin said, I've aged in 20 years.
No, literally.
I've aged 20 years. In the last 2 games.
I found 3 gray hairs in my head this morning, cuz.
I mean, like, you go from the Saturday on edge after the Schwarbaum and Wheeler's dealer, right? Wheeler dealer, and they lose. You know what? And then yesterday, up, down, backward, come back, punch.
Bunch. Take a train up. Let's go up and invade New York and City Field. You know, it's not that far. I'm sure there's great tickets on Game Time.
We'd
Go
love
up
that.
there and cause a ruckus up there.
Oh man,
Cause it a ruckus.
Yeah, let's cause a ruckus.
Phillies ruckus.
I do have a back day moment, real quick.
Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
All right, so two years ago today was when it started at all, cuz it was the 6 runs in 9th inning. Started off with Alan
The
Poe.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yes, in St. Louis. Thanks to our friends at Rite Aid back in the moment. That started this run that's in its 3rd iteration. Everybody, we love you guys. All right, take a breath, take a rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.